Caros amigos, sejam todos muito bem-vindos. Estamos iniciando este espaço no qual iremos lembrar o dia de Yom haShoá veaGuevurá, o dia do Holocausto e da bravura. Convidamos a todos que nos acompanhem na nossa página, nas nossas diferentes páginas, e também lhes convidamos a compartilhar esta página para que pessoas da vossa amizade possam nos acompanhar. Hoje nós temos uma convidada muito especial, então nós vamos dar as boas-vindas, and I would like to enter in our Zoom page, please. Maja Susha, welcome. I gostaria, welcome.
Hello.
Good evening for you, good afternoon for us.
Good evening.
I will introduce you in Portuguese. Maja Susha é nascida na Skopje, capital da Macedônia, membro da comunidade judaica, é investigadora e educadora do Departamento de Estudos do Holocausto do Institute for Cultural and Spiritual Heritage of the Albanians, Department for Holocaust Studies and Research, e membro do Conselho da Administração da Acta Non Verba. Queremos, neste dia de Yom haShoá veaGuevurá, ¿por qué convidé a Maja? Conheci a Maja há 3 anos atrás, durante o International Visitors Leadership Programs que fizemos juntos nos Estados Unidos, um programa que nos permitiu conhecer pessoas envolvidas em diálogo interreligioso, pessoas envolvidas com direitos humanos, e na época a Maja trabalhava no Instituto do Holocausto. I just telling about our how we know each other, how we met, our meeting in the IVLP program, and I would like to explain that many people in Macedonia follow this conversation. That will talk in English, and I will translate to Portuguese, and I will speak in Portuguese, and I will translate to English. But the most important thing is that we are together to remember. This is a Remember Day, and let's start with a candle lighting, something very simple, but today it's a day that we need to leave the darkness. When I'm thinking about Holocaust, I was thinking about darkness. And when you are thinking about life, you are thinking about light. And I'm thinking that it's very important to start together, to stop, to think. Today we are remember 6 million of our brothers who were killed just for being Jews. The only reason that they were killed is because they were Jews. Hoje é muito importante estarmos juntos porque hoje é um dia de lembrança. Quando pensamos no Holocausto, pensamos em escuridão. Quando pensamos em vida, pensamos em luz. Hoje é um dia para lembrar os 6 milhões de judeus assassinados no Holocausto. Hoje é o dia de Yom haShoá veaGuevurá, o dia do Holocausto e da bravura. Então, para começarmos este momento, a gente vai acender simbolicamente juntos uma vela. Estaremos fazendo isso em forma simbólica, and we will do this symbolic, but will be very important to start with the light in the memorial candle. Aleatoriamente aparece neste site um nome. Então nós vamos aqui a acender esta vela na bendita memória de Sarah Bakiel, que nasceu no ano 1896 na Polônia e que foi assassinada durante o Holocausto com idade de 46 anos. Simbolicamente, no nome de Sarah Bakiel, of Blessed Memory, que começamos este momento. My dear, my dear friend, can you tell us a little bit before we start to talk about Holocaust and about education, Holocaust education, a little bit about your country? I saw some information. It's very important for our people to have an idea about your country. I did a little search. And I will share this search in Portuguese, and then later on we'll listen from you, we'll hear from you about your country. A Maia está em Macedônia, na cidade de Skopje, que é a capital da Macedônia. Macedônia ganhou a sua independência no ano 1991, fazia parte da Iugoslávia. É um país sem saída para o mar, faz fronteira no norte com Kosovo, com a Sérvia, com a Bulgária, com a Grécia e com a Albânia. A comunidade judaica de Macedônia contava com 7.200 pessoas na véspera da Segunda Guerra Mundial e foi quase totalmente destruída durante a guerra. Apenas 2% dos judeus da Macedônia sobreviveram ao Holocausto. Após a sua libertação, no fim da guerra, a maioria dos judeus da Macedônia optou por fazer Aliyah, optou por morar em Israel. Hoje, a comunidade judaica do país conta com aproximadamente 200 pessoas. 200 pessoas, apenas 200 pessoas, quase todas vivendo na capital, na Skopje. A maioria dos judeus da Macedônia é de origem sefaradita e são descendentes dos refugiados do século XV que haviam sido expulsos da Espanha e de Portugal. I summarize a little bit the history, but one of the points that I said that before the Second World War, you have 7,200 Jews in Macedonia, and now most of them were killed during the war. And now you told me that you are just 200 Jews.
Jews. Yes, first of all, I would like to thank you for this, that you invited me, especially to speak about the Macedonian Jews and the fate of the Macedonian Jews during the Holocaust on Yom haShoá. Macedonia is a country that probably the only country in Europe that lost 98% of the Jews during the Holocaust. So in percentage...
Let me translate. Macedonia è un dos únicos países da Europa que perdeu 98% da população judaica durante a guerra. Please.
So maybe the number is not so high like the other countries in Europe, but the percentage is 98. Before the Holocaust...
Un número realmente não pode parecer tão alto, mas se a gente analisa desde a perspectiva da porcentagem, 98% é um número realmente muito alto.
Before the Second World War, and especially between the First and the Second World War, there was a very flourished Jewish life in Macedonia and in the whole Balkan Peninsula.
Okay, repeat because you were freezing.
Okay. So before the Second World War, and especially during in the period before between the First and the Second World War, there was a very flourishing Jewish life in Macedonia and the whole Balkan Peninsula. And during the Holocaust, we lost these three communities that existed here for more than 5 centuries.
Fala a Maia que entre a Primeira Guerra Mundial e a Segunda Guerra Mundial, A comunidade judaica da Macedônia era uma comunidade bem desenvolvida, com muita vida. E depois da Segunda Guerra Mundial se perderam, isso aí na região dos Balcãs, e depois da Segunda Guerra Mundial se perdeu toda essa comunidade que tinha uma existência, sim, de 5 séculos.
So, till we come to the Holocaust and what happened during the Holocaust, I would like to make a short summary of when the Jews came here and how they lived till the Second World War and how we live also today. Most of the Jews that came here were Sephardic Jews, and they came here from Spain and from Portugal with the Spanish during the Spanish Inquisition in the 15th century. But there was Jews.
Wait, let me translate. Let me translate that I'm not a professional translator.
Okay.
O que nos fala a Maia é que a maior parte dos judeus da Macedônia tiveram sua origem, sim, são sefaraditas, vieram da Espanha e de Portugal, e eles chegaram ali sim, depois dos tempos da Inquisição, que estamos falando 1492.
But before the Sephardic Jews came in the Balkan, there was Jews in this region, which we called Romaniotti. Probably you know about the Romaniotti community. But when the Sephardic Jews came here...
Okay. Então, antes desse período, antes do período da Inquisição, também já tinha judeus na região que eram chamados de Romaniotics. Okay.
But when the Sephardic Jews came in the Balkan, because they were more educated, most of the Romaniotti Jews with the time become Sephardic. So in the period before the Second World War and even before, we didn't have Romaniotti Jews anymore in this region. We only have the Sephardic Jews and some families, some Ashkenazi Jews, but most of the Jewish population that live here on the Balkans, especially in Macedonia, they were Sephardic. There was many communities, many synagogues, but there was only 3 communities in Macedonia, in Skopje, Bitola, and Štip. So in those 3 cities were the Jewish communities, but the biggest one was actually in Bitola. And today in Bitola, we don't have Jews anymore. The community today is only in Skopje, and most of the Jews lived in Skopje. We have only one Jewish family in Tetovo, and there is no Jews in Štip and in Bitola anymore because of the Holocaust.
Ok, o que nos fala a Maia que os judeus que vieram da Espanha e de Portugal chegaram com um maior nível cultural. E durante a guerra poderíamos dizer que já não existiam mais os judeus chamados de Romaniotic. Basicamente na região tinha 3 comunidades judaicas. A maior parte dos judeus morava em Skopje, a capital. E can you remember the name of the other 2 cities? Skopje is one of them.
Bitola and Štip.
Okay.
Yes.
Essas cidades, hoje podemos dizer que daquelas 3 comunidades, aquelas outras 2 não existem mais e a maior parte da população se concentra na capital. Isso aí hoje. Também existiam na época da Segunda Guerra Mundial alguns judeus ashkenazitas.
The biggest community before the Second World War was in Bitola, actually, and in Bitola we had the oldest Jewish cemeteries in the region. So from 1497, the Jews from Bitola opened the cemetery, and they were active till the Second World War.
Ok, o que nos fala Maia que na cidade de Bitola, sim, existe o cemitério mais antigo, que data de 1497. And also the oldest synagogue in Bitola, or not?
In Bitola, there was actually 6 synagogues. Some sources are telling us that there was 9 synagogues. Some of the synagogues were in some part of the house of the rich Jews in Bitola. But there was especially 2 very important synagogues in Bitola, because one was Portugal and the other one was Spanish. So in Bitola, there was like, you know, who is the best, the Jewish community that came from Spain, or the Jewish community that came from Bitola. But with the time, they become actually one.
O que fala Maia que na cidade de Bitola, sim, existiam 9 sinagogas, das quais hoje temos 6, e que antigamente existia aquela disputa, qual era a melhor sinagoga, se era a sinagoga dos espanhóis ou se era a sinagoga dos locais. I would like to show, before you continue, a map of Macedonia. Then we can see exactly the places that you are talking. Let's see if it's an appropriate map that I have here. Just a minute. Let me share my screen. Okay. We are exactly here. We are talking here. Okay, Sibra.
Okay, yes.
And you are exactly here in the red point. Sí, nos estamos aquí en la sinagoga Sibra en Porto Alegre. We are in Porto Alegre, South Brazil. You are here. Let's open this map and let's discover your country. Okay, you are arriving here, Macedonia. A Maia está falando aqui. Ela está agora.
Yes, I'm in Skopje.
You are now. And Bitola, where is Bitola?
Bitola
Here.
is down. Yes, there is Bitola and Štip. You know, in like near the center, up.
Aquí, here.
Yeah, yes, that's Štip. Yes.
This is the point of the 3 Jewish communities, yes? Skopje,
Skopje, Štip and Bitola.
Bitola, ok. Então agora a gente tem uma melhor ideia, sim, destas 3 comunidades das quais estamos falando. Então, Skopje, Štip e Bitola. Aí temos uma melhor ideia. E aqui um pouco o mapa, sim, que antes falávamos, as fronteiras, sim, com Albânia, no sul a Grécia. Depois temos, sim, Kosovo aqui, as fronteiras aqui, e a Bulgária, sim, as fronteiras que antes falamos. Ok, now you have the map.
And Serbia.
E Sérvia, ok. E Sérvia. Aí temos Albânia, Bulgária, Montenegro, Serbia. Okay, let's continue. Now we know where we are exactly.
In Štip was the smallest community with around 500 members, and in the middle was the Skopje community with also one synagogue that survived the Holocaust, because all the synagogues in Bitola and in Štip, they were destroyed during the Second World War and during the Holocaust, except the one in Skopje that survived the Holocaust but didn't survive the Skopje earthquake in 1963.
O que nos conta Maia é que de todas as sinagogas que existiam nestas três cidades, apenas a sinagoga de Skopje sobreviveu ao Holocausto, mas infelizmente acabou sendo destruída em 1963, yes? The earthquake.
Yes, there was a very big earthquake in Skopje.
Então, teve um terremoto no ano 1963 que acabou fazendo que os nazistas não conseguiram, sim, que a sinagoga de Skopje seja destruída. Na cidade de Stip, ela falava que moravam 500 judeus. And how many Jews were in Bitola before the war?
Like more than 3,500.
Ok, mais de 3.300 judeus que moravam em Bitola. Ok.
Macedonia is the region of Macedonia and the part where I live today, and the Bitola and Stip and Skopje at that time were part of Kingdom of Yugoslavia. So I'm speaking like before the Second World War. When they were...
Estas três cidades das quais estamos falando faziam parte do reino da Iugoslávia.
Yes. When the war started, and no one expected that with the fall of the regime in Kingdom of Yugoslavia, and when they signed a pact with the Nazi Germany, and when they fall, no one knows that the Nazi Germany will give actually that part to the Bulgarians, and actually Bulgarians occupied Macedonia during the Second World War.
O que não imaginavam os habitantes daquela região era que a Alemanha nazista iria fazer pacto com o reino da Iugoslávia e que o reino da Iugoslávia iria ser ocupado pela Bulgária.
Yeah, so in Macedonia, because the Macedonians were also occupied, they were not free, it wasn't easy for the Jews to survive in any level. So I'm not only speaking about, I'm not speaking before the deportation. And if we say that there was a special law for protection of the nations signed by the King Boris. It was the Bulgarian king. It was a very anti-Semitic law. And that law was for all the Jews in the Kingdom of the Bulgaria and in the occupied territories, which is part of Macedonia, one part of Greece, Thrace, and one part of Serbia, one city, Pirot.
Uma das coisas que realmente acabaram com os judeus e acabaram literalmente muito antes da deportação eram as leis antissemitas que regiam na Bulgária, que foram promulgadas pelo rei da Bulgária, e essas leis antissemitas que atingiram não só os moradores da Macedônia, como também a Bulgária, Grécia e parte da Sérvia. I would like just to invite the people who follow us in this moment, if they like to send any question to Maja, please write in our screen, in our page, in our Facebook page, and if you like in English or in Portuguese. Thank you very much for Igor Yurukov to be with us, Ieda Nudelman, Rosa Paulina Herman, Ismar Vilordo, people who are with us in our page, and the people who will enter later when we will finish this, because will be recorded our conversation. Okay, then we have the law, the anti-Semitic law.
Yes.
In the Bulgaria.
Yes, the law was actually, there was many restrictions. The kids didn't have right to go to school. For the Jews, everything was forbidden. Every Jewish house had like a stamp that there is a that is a Jewish house. It was not allowed for them to have their own business. So it was a very, very hard time. But no one thought that there will be a deportation one day.
Existiam muitas restrições, as crianças não podiam nas escolas, absolutamente tudo estava proibido para os judeus, não podiam ter comércio, não podiam trabalhar, mas o que ninguém imaginou era a questão das deportações. But I would like to ask you about the Macedonia citizens, if they were anti-Semitic or not, how was the relationship between the population before the war. Eu pergunto para Maja cómo era esa relación, o si los macedonios eran antisemitas antes de la guerra.
So I need to be very honest. The Macedonians were never anti-Semitic. During the Second World War, they lost 20,000 Macedonians. And also, the Macedonians were occupied during the Second World War. So they were not free under the Bulgarian occupation. Of course, there was some anti-Semitic cases, but if we speak in general, there was no anti-Semitism from the Macedonian side, because the whole deportation.
No state environment of anti-Semitic.
No, because they didn't have state at their, it was the Bulgarian authorities here. There was a Bulgarian teachers here. The official language was Bulgarian. So everything was under the Bulgarians, the fascist Bulgarians, and the whole deportation and the organization of the deportation and the registry was made by the Bulgarian fascist authorities that were here.
O che dice Maja che di fatto, sì, onestamente, la dice che non esistia un antisemitismo na Macedonia por parte da população, que também 20.000 macedonios fueron deportados durante la guerra, que la ocupación era pelos búlgaros, y los búlgaros eran las autoridades, los búlgaros fascistas que enviaban a sus fuerzas y que comandaban a Macedonia y que tenían un control también de educación, enviaban los profesores. Entonces, de fato, claro que puede tener casos de antisemitismo, pero no un antisemitismo sistemático de Estado.
And I would like to say that when I'm speaking here about what the Bulgarians did, I want to make one distinction between the Bulgarian authorities and the Bulgarian fascist government and the Bulgarian people.
Okay. Maja quer dizer que ela tem que fazer uma distinção dos búlgaros em três. As autoridades búlgaras. 2, os búlgaros fascistas. E 3, a população búlgara.
Yes. So when I say that the Bulgarian fascists deported the Macedonian Jews, and not only, they also deported the Jews from Thrace and the Jews from Pirot, from all the occupied territories. So we are speaking here about 11 7,500 Jews.
Okay.
7,100.
Okay, just a minute. A deportação foi feita pelos búlgaros fascistas que deportaram, sim, 11.500 judeus.
So they deported 11,500 Jews from Pirot, Macedonia, Skopje, Bitola, and Stip, and Thrace, that part of Greece that was also deported by the Kingdom of Bulgaria. But from the other side, we have like 49,000 Jews in Bulgaria that were not deported. So only the Jews from the occupied territories were deported in Treblinka in March 1943.
Então, o que temos que distinguir é que apenas os judeus que foram deportados foram aqueles que estavam no território baixo ocupação búlgara. Aqueles outros judeus da Macedônia que não estavam baixo ocupação búlgara, eles não foram deportados. Can you repeat the number of Jews that they didn't were deported?
49,000 Jews from
49.
Bulgaria. From
40.
Bulgaria.
Yes.
So 49,000 Jews from Bulgaria were not deported. So,
But 49,000,
yes.
Because I read, perhaps it's a mistake in the information, that it were in Bulgaria 7,200 Jews.
In Macedonia. So you have, there is the Macedonia and there is Bulgaria.
I'm sorry. I was thought about Macedonia. Okay.
No.
Ok, então voltamos, sim, esse número 49.000 que não foram deportados da Bulgária, mas quem deportou era só apenas aqueles que estavam baixo o domínio dos fascistas búlgaros, que também incluía comunidades da Grécia.
So 7,144 Jews from Macedonia, this is the number that you were talking about,
yes,
were deported in March 1943 in the death camp of Treblinka in occupied Poland at that period.
Então, em 1943, aquele número de judeus que moravam na Macedônia, 7.200 judeus, aquele número sim foi deportado para Treblinka, para o campo de extermínio de Treblinka.
So 11th of March is the date in 1943 where when the Bulgarian fascist police arrest the Jews all over Macedonia, so from Bitola, Stip, and Skopje, and they took them to the tobacco factory, which we call Monopol, and that was the transit camp in Skopje. So from there, they were put in the trains and they traveled to Treblinka. They were deported to Treblinka from the tobacco factory.
Uma data realmente muito triste que nos lembra Maia, é a data de 11 de março de 1943, que foi o dia que a polícia então prendeu os judeus, os levou para uma área próxima da capital, da onde partiram os trens e os levaram para o campo de extermínio de Treblinka.
So they arrest them on 11th of March and they put them into the tobacco factory in the transit camp in Skopje. And then there was the 3 deportation days from Skopje to Treblinka. So on 22nd of March was the first deportation. 25th of March was the second deportation, and the last deportation was the 29th of March 1943, and that was the end of the Jewish communities in Macedonia, actually, because translate.
Yes, tinha campo ali então de passagem desde onde os deportaram, e de fato teve 3 deportações em massa desde a Macedônia para Treblinka. Então, conforme as datas que nos foi passada pela Maja, nessas 3 datas podemos dizer que se resume o final da vida judaica na Macedônia. Estamos falando de all the deportations happened during March 19.
Yes.
Então, março é um marco sim, daquelas 3 deportações e que marca o final da vida judaica na Macedônia.
And the deportation from Skopje to Treblinka lasts 6 days. So there was the need to be in the wagons for 6 days. And when they arrived in Treblinka, they were immediately murdered.
A viagem entre Skopje e Treblinka durava 6 dias e imediatamente assim como chegavam em Treblinka eram assassinados. Claro que, of course, that many people died during these 6 days in the trains.
And no one came back from there. So the people that survived the Holocaust in Macedonia were the one that joined the partisans, so the resistance movement here. And some of them were also killed in the war, but as fighters. They were not. Not everyone survived that joined the resistance movement, and there was also Jews that were saved by the local population, by the Macedonians here, and also there were Jews that escaped in Albania.
Então, o que conta a Maja é que não teve sobreviventes dos judeus que foram deportados para Treblinka. Os únicos judeus que sobreviveram à guerra foram aqueles que fizeram parte dos grupos de partisanos. Alguns poucos judeus que foram escondidos pela população da Macedônia e outros judeus que conseguiram fugir para a Albânia, que como a gente viu anteriormente é um país.
Yes, and Albania is one special case, I would say, because Albania is the only country that the number of the Jews were higher after the war than before the war. So before the war, we had like 200 Jews in Albania, and after the war, there was 2,000. So most of the Jews that escaped in Albania during the Second World War, they were saved, they survived. And most of them were from Macedonia.
O caso de Albania é um caso único, porque antes da guerra tinha 200 judeus e depois da guerra teve 2.000 judeus. From 200 to 2,000 Jews. Yes, you said?
Yes.
Então, yes. Nós vemos que a Albânia foi dos poucos países da Europa que recebeu judeus, onde os judeus conseguiram sobreviver à guerra. 10 times multiplicate the number of Jews in Albania. 10 vezes se multiplicou a população judaica na Albânia que conseguiram sobreviver. Okay. Tell me a little bit how is today the relationship from these 200 Jews who are living in Macedonia. You are one of these 200 Jews, and we fortunately are talking with you. And you can tell us exactly how is the relationship with other citizens. We know that it's a very big number of Muslims in Macedonia nowadays. What happened after the last wars? We know that in Macedonia you received many refugees. this change the relationship between the Jewish population and other population. Sì, pergunto para Maia como é o relacionamento hoje desses 200 judeus que moram na Macedônia com o resto da população, considerando que depois das guerras em Kosovo, por exemplo, Macedônia recebeu muitos refugiados e existe número muito grande de muçulmanos atualmente morando na Macedônia. Como é aquela relação?
So Macedonia is actually a multi-ethnic country. And of course, there is the Macedonian nation, the Macedonian people, and the one ethnicity that is also very big is the Albanian, which most of them are Muslims. But we have, I think, 5 religious communities recognized by the Constitution. And of course, one of them is the Jewish community. There is the Catholic, the Protestant community, the Muslim, the Islam community, and of course the Orthodox, Christian Orthodox, no Greek, because we have some specific relations with Greece. We have here Macedonian Orthodox Christians. I would say like this. I don't want to, you know, we're very careful here on the Balkans, so I don't want to hurt anyone. Of course, we love Greece, and I love Greece, but I love Macedonia, and the Jews here. As you said, we are 200 people, and most of us, and almost all of us, live in Skopje. In almost every part of the city, we are not in a quarter or something like that. But the relations with the Macedonians and with the Albanians are. I don't want to say perfect, but they're very good.
Ok, fala a Maia que o relacionamento com a população da Macedônia e também com os albaneses que moram na Macedônia é muito bom. O mesmo acontece entre as religiões, tem 5 religiões oficiais, os católicos, os protestantes, os islâmicos e também dentro da igreja cristã os cristãos ortodoxos e obviamente os judeus. We can say that the very good relations have the same situation that you had and you talk before the Second World War. Yes, we can say
that. You know, if there was a special law of restitution here in Macedonia. And the special law of restitution of the Jewish properties that don't have legal heirs. So all the people that were deported in Treblinka, all their houses and their property were given back to the community. Actually, we made the government and the Jewish community, they built a Holocaust fund, and the Holocaust fund built the Holocaust Memorial Center. So in the middle of the city, actually, there is a very big Holocaust museum that speaks about the history of the Macedonian Jews and of course, the Jews in the region. Okay. And their fate during the Holocaust.
Esiste attualmente una lei muito importante na Macedônia pela qual os judeus, a comunidade judaica, se consegue restituir, deve ser restituída, é uma obrigação, é por lei, que todas as propriedades que pertenceram aos judeus devem ser restituídas para a comunidade judaica. Desse dinheiro, esse dinheiro ajudou a criar um fundo do Holocausto, e esse fundo do Holocausto construiu um museu no centro da cidade, um memorial, e também estão construindo. Então, you have a memorial center with this fund, and what else? Some educational programs that you develop. It's a memorial.
This is the Holocaust Memorial Center, and actually the Holocaust Fund. It was a decision of the Macedonian government. So this I want to show the relations and the respect of the government to the Jewish community and to this history.
Ok, está mostrando claramente e reforça Maia que a determinação de criar um fundo do Holocausto foi uma determinação do governo da Macedônia, que mostra às claras qual é a relação entre a comunidade judaica e o governo. Do you have Jews in the Macedonian government or not?
So I think last year or this year, because I'm not so many in the politics, but we got in January, I think we got the first Minister of Labor, and she was a Jewish and from the Jewish community. So we got the first Minister of Labor in the government this year. I think she's now in part of the parliament, yes. The answer is yes.
O che fa la Maia, vou fazer um resumo, sì, che di fatto esiste presença judaica no governo da Macedônia, que foi escolhida uma mulher como a primeira judia a ocupar um cargo de ministra de trabalho.
I just want to, this was like a connection with the Macedonian side, but I work in the Institute for Cultural and Spiritual Heritage of the Albanians. So the workers there and the researchers, they are Albanian, and they opened the Department for Holocaust Studies, which means they also have respect for this history, and it's part of the Ministry of Education. This institute is under the Minister of Education in Macedonia. So that are the connections. That's why I said we have a very good connections with the Macedonians and with the Albanians in Macedonia.
The institution, let me understand better. The institution that you are working, it's an Albanian institution, but the office is in Macedonia, in Skopje, or not?
Well, Ministry of Education, well, in our government, we have Albanians and we have Macedonians, and of course, we had also Jews. So this institute where I'm working is part and is under the Ministry of Education in Macedonia, in Skopje. And within the institute, we have the Department for Holocaust Education. So it's like, it's not Albanian institute because this is Macedonia, but they are caring about the Albanian history and the Albanian language. Of course, we have institute that cares about Macedonian language and about Macedonian history, but this institute decided that they want to have a Holocaust Studies department in their institute. So I don't know if you understand me well, because Macedonia is a bit complicated to understand just in one Zoom, but it's a very beautiful country and yes.
O que está tentando explicar Maya es esa relación, ¿sí? de trabajar por un instituto de pesquisa sobre el Holocausto que depende de Albania, mas que funciona dentro de Macedonia, dentro de la capital, que está diretamente relacionado com o Ministério de Educação, mas que estudam o Holocausto, assim como também se estuda assim, na língua albanesa, e assim como se estuda também com as características de Macedônia. We can say that it's really very different, the research from the Albanian Holocaust than the Macedonian Holocaust. It's
No,
complete.
no, no,
No, it's
no,
the
no,
same.
no, it's the same.
It's same. Sì,
Yes,
a storia e a pesquisa que eles trabalham e que
the
fazem
history.
é o mesmo, mas trabalham juntos, albaneses, macedônios e judeus, estudando o Holocausto. Is it an private institute or it's a public institute?
No, it's a state institute.
State.
Yes.
Un instituto do Estado, sim, o Estado que banca este instituto para estudar o Holocausto. And is it an obligation or do you have a special law to teach Holocaust at schools, universities? I don't know.
Well, there is we have many like projects and many seminars that we are doing with most of them with the high schools, but also with the elementary schools. But in our institute, we also have students that are preparing their thesis on the Holocaust, and they can make their master and their PhD on our institute. So it's we work on with everyone that wants to work on this field, and there is many teachers in Macedonia that wants to put lectures in their subject in connection with the Holocaust. Then we came and we helped them to how to build the lecture. We give them resources, how to do it. So it's every year it's more and more teachers want to be involved. And of course, with this pandemic, we it's not so easy to work, but of course we have these online webinars, and of course Macedonia signed a memorandum of cooperation with Yad Vashem. So every year we bring Macedonian teachers in Israel. Last year we did it with Zoom together with Yad Vashem. But yes, we work on the education of our teachers, and not only history teachers, but also Macedonian language, English language teachers, Albanian language teachers, because they can use some resources in their subject. There is no need to be a specially history subject, you know.
Okay, let me summarize your last your last sentence. O que fala Maia é que, bom, vou começar do final, sim, que eles têm convênio com Yad Vashem e portanto, todos os anos enviam professores para Jerusalém, para o Centro Mundial do Holocausto, para se aperfeiçoar. No instituto onde a Maia trabalha, eles têm muitos alunos fazendo as suas teses de mestrado e doutorado em Holocausto. Muitos professores, não apenas de história, frequentam o instituto procurando material para poder desenvolver aulas, para poder pesquisar, como recebem todas as orientações, e eles atuam tanto em escolas de primeiro grau como segundo grau. Então, realmente o trabalho é um trabalho muito árduo. O interessante, que resgato para o nosso público aqui, que é um instituto criado pelo Estado da Macedônia, pelo governo da Macedônia, uma instituição estadual. E isso aí merece toda a nossa consideração.
Internet.
Yes. novamente congeló para mí, mas para agora sí. It's really very, very important, and congratulations for the work that you develop. It's very important, not just for Macedonian, Albanian. It's very important to fight against anti-Semitism. And I know that, thank of God, you don't have the problem of anti-Semitic problems in Macedonia, but we know that Europe is a continent that have serious problems with anti-Semitism. I would like to return to one of my points. With many Muslim refugees, we discovered in the last month, in the last year, how can I say, not a good environment with the Jewish. They try to create problems and not to live in peace with the Jewish community, and to have some influence in the local communities against the Jewish population. How do you see this integration of the refugees, of the immigrants, this big number of Muslims that live?
For the migrants, I mean, Macedonia was on the route. So most of the immigrants that want to get to Europe, they go through Greece and of course through Macedonia. But Macedonia was not in, so it was not their goal, because we are a poor country. So they just go through our country and they go in Europe. So we don't have so much immigrants here in Macedonia.
Ok, dice Maya che realmente eles non têm este problema dos imigrantes muçulmanos, porque realmente não estão na rota para outros países da Europa. Sim, os imigrantes passam mais pela Grécia, e por outro lado que a Maya diz que a Macedônia é um país pobre.
And you know, you can always find some anti-Semitic case if you chase to find, but in general, and also I speak about our leaders here. They're never encourage anti-Semitic, and they are always try to fight. So I have to be honest, we don't have this here. There is some cases, but it's not, you know, like in other countries. We can say here that we are Jews, and it's
Graças a Deus não tem o problema hoje na Macedônia de antissemitismo. Eles podem dizer abertamente que são judeus, e as autoridades estatais, não, graças a Deus também, não fomentam o antissemitismo. Maya, we are arriving to the last minutes of our conversation. Tell us how the Macedonian community remember this day. It's a special thing that happened in a public place, in a square. We know that we are in a special time in the pandemic
so
time.
every year on Yom haShoá, we had an event with people. So last year and this year, we didn't have such a public event. Of course, there was the light of six candles in the community, but unfortunately, because of the pandemic, especially in this period, we are in very bad health situation here. We are in curfew every day. The restaurants and everything is closed, so that's why we don't have public events. It's like forbidden.
Este ano não se fez nenhum evento de Yom HaShoah veaGuevurá. Isso tem a ver com a pandemia e com o lockdown. Está tudo fechado e está proibido, sim, de ter aglomerações públicas, mas todos os anos eles organizam evento de Yom HaShoah veaGuevurá. Do you have an idea, or these 200 Macedonian Jews have an idea how important are for us as a Jewish people? And do you understand how important you are? Because you represent all this generation of the Holocaust
Yes.
was killed. Do you have an idea? Because 200, for us, it's very complicated to understand because we are a synagogue that we have 200 family members. It's about 500, 600 people. We have a more number of members than the Jewish population in all Macedonia. Then I ask if you have a dimension, how important you are for us as a Jewish people. Pergunto se eles têm uma dimensão da importância que tem esses 200 judeus que moram na Macedônia. Nós somos uma comunidade que tem 200 famílias associadas, isso dá um universo de 600 pessoas. Nós, Cibra, temos um número maior que a população judaica de toda a Macedônia. Pergunto para Maja se realmente eles são conscientes que estão representando também toda essa vida judaica que existia antes do Holocausto.
You know, it's not the first time that I'm hearing this from Jewish person, I would say, and also there is a lot of Israelis and people from America that are coming from big communities with 5,000, 10,000, and then when we said we are 200, they're like, wow, we are so precious. And I always feel that from the Jews that are coming here, visiting us. And it's really special because in our community, we know each other. We know every member. You know, there is no person that we don't know. And our kids, they know each other. And especially for we send our kids to summer camps together with Jewish kids from ex-Yugoslavia. There is every summer in Croatia summer camp where our kids, together with the kids from Serbia, Bosnia, and Croatia, spend time together. And also we send our kids in Jewish events and Jewish summer camps in Europe, where they spend time with young Jewish kids in Europe. Now it's the pandemic. I cannot speak from this period, but before, especially our youth was very active. They're members of the European Union of Jewish students. So they also go in the events of the UGS, which is the European Union of the Jewish Students. And they're also part of BBYO. It's a very big teenage Jewish organization in America. And we send our kids to Jewish camps in America, spend time with their friends there. So we are a small community, I would say, but very active. So it's not, and of course, our relations with Israel are very important and we have a great support. I have to mention the Ambassador Dan Orian, the Israeli ambassador here, who is a very active and very supportive in every project that we want to do. And also there is a Macedonian Jewish community in Israel that is in connection with us. So we are small, but I think very good connected. There is always, you know, there is always, you can always be better and you can always do better. But yes, our kids now, they know where they come from, and they know to present the community when they go out from the country.
O che nos dice San Maya è che non è la prima vez che la escuta de un giudeo así, de estar tan sorpreso de que eles são apenas 200. Sería cada vez que alguien visita comunidades na Macedonia, comunidade judaica na Macedonia, llegan de comunidades bem maiores, onde tem milhares de judeus, eles entendem, sim, o que representam e preparam muito bem os seus jovens para representar a comunidade judaica da Macedônia. Mas os jovens estão muito bem integrados, especialmente com outros jovens de países da região, especialmente participam de summer camps. Summer camps são acampamentos de verão, e participam também de outras entidades judaicas europeias, e portanto estão todos muito bem integrados. Também recebem um bom apoio por parte da Embaixada de Israel, que apoia também os programas que eles desenvolvem, e também existe uma comunidade judaica da Macedônia em Israel. How big is the Macedonian Jewish community in Israel?
Well, you know, because when the last ambassador, the Dan Orion, came to be ambassador of Israel, I think that he made this big connection with the Jewish community in Macedonia, with the Macedonian community in Israel. So every time there is more and more people that say also that have roots from Macedonia, and even I think they have a synagogue right now that they go together on Shabbat. So it's, I don't know in numbers, but it's growing, and because of the good connections in the past few years.
O que diz a Maia que não tem exatamente o número de judeus macedônios que moram em Israel, mas é uma comunidade que está se consolidando, que estão juntos, que agora rezam juntos também no Shabbat, numa sinagoga, que também levam para Israel frutas da Macedônia, mas isso aí tem muito a ver com o trabalho feito pela Embaixada de Israel. At the beginning, we start to listen, to hear your words, and we really are coming from darkness to light. We starting talking about death and remember, and now we are ending our conversation with hope, speaking about life, speaking about present, and speaking about future. Two last questions. What about the assimilation for the Macedonian Jews? Sim, a gente começou esta conversa, começamos falando de morte, começamos falando do Holocausto, estamos agora encerrando, falando de vida, falando do presente. Como está a questão da assimilação da comunidade judaica na Macedônia?
That's a big challenge here, because we are 200. But I think that the important here is the work of the Jewish community. So if the Jewish community don't care about the members, then there will be a bigger assimilation. So for example, we have, of course now is the pandemic and that doesn't work, but we have in the community we have a Sunday school for kids. There is a youth section, so the teenagers are every week together. So this is very important if you want to, you know, regarding the assimilation, but it is a challenge. It is a big challenge here regarding that. So
a assimilação é um grande desafio da comunidade judaica da Macedônia, mas se está fazendo um bom trabalho com os jovens, com as crianças, tem um Sunday School, uma escola de domingo, também tem os grupos juvenis. Tell me about the religious life nowadays, because you have just one synagogue. And what happened with this famous joke? If you fight with God in this synagogue, do you have another synagogue to go or not?
No, well, the religious life, especially right now, it's very difficult. But the problem is that we don't have a rabbi. And yes, for every Jewish holidays, we are together and we celebrate together in the Jewish community, which is unique and very special. For example, for Pesach or for Hanukkah, we are always together in the community. But we don't have a rabbi. And also nowadays, we are also facing with people that want to make Aliyah and that are making Aliyah because of the economic and about the system here. So they want, you know, young people, they want a better life. And what will be, I don't know, but we are still here. And I think that especially to my generation, it's very important to tell the story in the right way. Maybe we had a possibility to hear the story directly from the survivors, but our kids, they will not have that opportunity. And it is our obligation. And it is a very big challenge to do it in the right way. So that's why I think that especially my generation in the community had a very important work nowadays and in these years, because everything, you know, the kids and the young people, especially in the Balkan, it's not easy to live here, to get a job. It's, you know, to get a very good education, and they want to go out from here, maybe in Europe, but some of them in Israel. So it's not easy, but...
O que diz a Maia que hoje em dia sim, é muito difícil viver na região dos Balcãs, especialmente em Macedônia. As pessoas procuram por um trabalho melhor. Falávamos da vida religiosa desses 200 judeus que moram hoje na Macedônia, em Skopje. Eles não têm rabino, mas se juntam especialmente para Pesach, para Hanukkah. Chega sempre algum rabino durante as altas festas, mas é muito importante para a geração da Maia poder ficar ali, para poder contar sim, a verdadeira história e para poder sim, manter a comunidade judaica. Maia, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy to talk with you. Many people enter in our page to follow our conversation. I see that many people enter.
Isključi se od internet. Luka. Luka, isključi se od internet. Абе, кажи им и изключи од ова. Абе, гаси го. Бе, како можеш ова да ми направиш?